Sorry, the door's not. Okay, actually, that's fine. Okay, this will be a quick one. My lunch is in the microwave, but I just wanted to come on and observe something that just happened. And I'm not quite sure what the end result will be, but I just got some like a really, really bad not review, but like, so I have a client that I just gave a chapter to for one of his books, and he texted me saying it was terribly written and that he's gonna throw most of it out, and that, oh, maybe, I don't know, that he's gonna throw most of it out, and that I should give him, like, maybe he should take the rest of the information, like all the materials, and do it himself. So that was like that was a slap in the face. And you know, it feels horrible. And I started kind of freaking out. Like, I'll say that. I'll start a little slowly but surely froke out. And then I looked at the edits he's made so far, and they're really cosmetic. So, I mean, he stopped at noon, which was his time 10. So who knows what he stopped for? Like, maybe he throws his hands up in disgust and walks away, or maybe he's got a meeting, or I don't know. We'll see. He said he's gonna take the rest of the day to edit it and fix it, basically. So I texted him, and I said I want to make things right. Now, are you unhappy with the content and the layout? Or are these just physical, these are just cosmetic changes you're making? And so I went and I looked at the document. He's made several edits, but they're like things like, he said it sounded like someone who didn't speak English as a first language wrote it. And I mean, yes, I have my writer speaks Urdu as a first language, but grew up speaking English as well. And I went through it several times, like literally three times, to make sure it was okay to send to him. And I mean, every other writer, every other author has been happy with my writing. I mean, one said he was very unhappy, but when we examined what he was unhappy about, there was a literary device that I was using that he didn't like, so I just changed that. And then he had a problem with punctuation and some of the grammar, but really not even the grammar, because there wasn't any bad, like, he was upset because he saw like typos and like spelling mistake, well, not really spelling mistakes, but like typos and incorrect punctuation, or whatever the case may be. That was why he was upset. When I finally asked him, like, well, what about the content? He's like, oh no, the content's great. And I was like, well, okay, is it, do you like the way it's being said? And he's like, yeah, no, that's great. It's like, okay, we're going to get it proofread. But, so that was it. But my other clients, when they read the stuff that I've written, have been pretty, I mean, either going from glowingly, exuberantly happy to like, yeah, this is great. That's like the range of things that I've had so far. So to have someone tell me that this sounds like someone who doesn't speak English wrote it, and that maybe I should give him all the material so he can do it now, and it doesn't sound like him, and it doesn't, like, it's just like a lot. There was a lot of stuff that he said. But then when I looked at the edits he's making, and maybe these are just, he started and he stopped because there was too much, I don't know, but there are things like spending time versus time spent. And when he changed it, and then in the next sentence, he changed time flew by to time flies by, which, okay, actually is grammatically incorrect given the sentence before it, because it has to match tenses. So I'm hoping that these are the only kinds of problems he's having with it. I texted him and I was like, are these, yeah, I already said that. Like, are these cosmetic changes, or are these like content structure kind of changes? Because content and structure changes are hard. That's a problem. Cosmetic changes, not a big deal. Not a big deal. We can easily change that. You want to change the phrasing in some things. Okay, we can change the phrasing in some things. Not a big deal. You don't have to take the entire project back. But whatever the case may be, the thing is, number one, so lessons learned here. Number one, investigate before you freak out. Like, is this really true? Robin, you know everything. Like, it's so funny when my friend Robin, who comes on Fridays at 2:00 for Untethered Talk with Robin Thomas at 2:00. Be there or be square. 2 p.m. Eastern. But she just knows everything. The more I get into like examining what the issue actually is, the more she's already told me what the issue is, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's right. Like, okay, I get it, I knew it, but now I'm seeing it. So yeah, what was I even talking about that? Is this 100, like, can I be sure that this is the truth? I can be sure he said that to me, but can I be sure that what he said is the truth? Go and look it out. Go and look it up, right? Like, if someone says something, and you know what the thing is too, though? It's also because it was a negative thing about me that I'm automatically, like, the way that I am, I gotta work on my voice. The way that I am, the way that I was, the way that I'm changing is that anything someone says about me that's negative, I take on board immediately and I think it's true. Not healthy, not good. Also, not accurate, not true. Like, so this is good stuff. And so that's lesson one, is like, if you're going to freak out about something, make sure it's something freak out worthy. And honestly, nothing's freak out worthy. That's the other thing. I am learning how to, because need is not the words that we want to, I also want to every once in a while, like, bring in again that words like need or can't, like words of scarcity, take them out of your vocabulary. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I just got the text. The reason I just interrupted myself, I asked him the question, is it a content structure problem or is it just cosmetic changes? He just texted me back and he said, just cosmetic. I was like, okay, that's fine. That's not a problem. That is not a problem. Yeah. So hopefully he can think about that. Oh my God. I just froke out. Thankfully, it was like 2 minutes before my therapy appointment. Anyway, so number one lesson here, don't freak out until you know what the situation actually is. And second lesson, don't freak out. Learn to, I was talking to my therapist and she's kind of, she's on my side. But she's kind of like, well, if this is causing you problems, this is something maybe you should think about not doing. And I'm like, no, what I am doing is learning how to cope, because this is life and I need to know how to cope with things like this. This isn't bad feedback from a client is something that I'm going to have to learn to deal with. Especially when it's like, this is the second time. That's really funny to me. The client's been like, no, it's bad. And then I'm like, well, is it? And they're like, well, no. Okay. That's fine. Cool. Okay. So don't freak out. Yeah, I know I'm repetitive. My brain is not. I need to organize my life. I am going to, and today am organizing my life in such a way that my brain can work better. Because right now everything is disorganized and it's all over the place and my brain can't make sense of it. It's not that I can't handle it. It's hard to handle, but it's hard to make sense of. And I think that's where a lot of the stress is coming from. There's just too much going on that's not organized. I need to organize it. I need to have a schedule a weekly schedule that I stick to, because otherwise things go bananas. So that's my thought, and I hope that that's helpful to anybody out there. Don't freak out until you know what the situation is, and don't freak out, because there's really, I mean, like Michael Singer says, right? Like, you can't do something, you can only work here, you can only work on the inside, you can't make things different on the outside. So, so this is a really good opportunity. When I get a text like that, the problem is in the moment thinking, relax and release. Like, the way I would have liked to react to that was this is a good thing too, that let's review how I reacted and how, like, a different way that I could react, and hopefully will react in the future, right? So I immediately, my heart rate went up. I started sweating. I almost started crying. I mean, crying is not crying happens for me all the time, so that's not a big deal, but it indicates a real, like, overflow of emotion, and I don't know. It seems, that's a tangent, and I'm not going to go off on it. It's a topic for a different time. Come on, brain, stay on target. Throw that topic away. So I saw the text. I immediately assumed that he was right, and that it was all bad, and that I just screwed up royally. And now, this client who I admire and really, really, I think is awesome, and we've had a really good relationship up until now, like, and he's also an important client. Like, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, like, oh, it must be terrible. What is he talking about? Like, it sounds like someone else, like someone who doesn't speak English wrote it. That can't be true, because I edited it. I went over it 3 times. Like, but at the same time, it was like, oh my God. And then I got on the thing with my therapist and was freaking, like honestly, like, most of the session was spent crying about it until I looked at the changes he's making, and they're, time spent versus spending time, like. All right. Okay, that's maybe you know what the thing is too, though, right? In a situation like that, when one reacts in a level-headed way, in a manner in which one would want to, one sees it, doesn't take it personally, takes it, and even if it does hit, because it's going to hit, right? It's going to hit stuff. Take a deep breath. Relax and release. I can feel the tension in my shoulders. I can feel it in my gut. Okay, let's sit down and talk about this. Feel it in my shoulders. I can feel it in my gut. Like, oh, yeah. And my lower back. And my throat. It's lots of tension that is a result from things like this. So instead of jumping immediately to the emotional extreme, which is my pattern, take a deep breath. And the way in the future that I would want to react to this is to take a deep breath, relax and release, investigate the issue, determine what's true and what's not. And also, I mean, in general, even if it's a catastrophe, we want to be able to relax and release, and not come, like, our actions should not come from our reactive energy, right? So, okay, that's what I'm gonna end up. I know this has been long, and I should probably, hopefully I'll find someone to cut this into something that is short. But yeah, lessons. Don't freak out until, like, take a deep breath. When something happens, take a deep breath and relax and release. Don't freak out about something until you've investigated, but don't freak out about something because it's life, and you need to learn to cope. Let's just talk about me. I need to learn to cope with life in general. Like, that's what needs to happen. So we're building a coping mechanisms. We have the technology. So Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Let's not freak out. Anything that comes that's a challenge, deep breath, relax and release. Release and let go. And then when there's something that needs to be done in a situation, then once one is like, okay, let me take a look at the situation with a level head, then move from that place. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say, and I'm grateful for that lesson, although it still really feels gross and disgusting up here. Like, gut to chin is feeling nasty and like right now. So what I'm going to go work on is relaxing. So that's what I'm going to go do, is relax. Meditate. I think meditation is what's called for in this situation. Anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much. Very grateful for what just happened, even though it feels yucky and gross. Grateful for the opportunity to grow. That's what we always got to see in the things that are problems, opportunities to grow. How can I use this to get rid of my ego, to get rid of myself, to get past my blockages and grow and evolve spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, or mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Spiritually should be at the end there because it's like the big one. So that's what I'm going to go with. You guys are awesome, and I will talk to you later, except that I want to remind you that you can always choose to have a grateful day.